working for you. This is Wave 3 News at 11.
First of all, I want to say our thoughts and our prayers are with our employees that were injured in this this explosion today. That's our number one priority is taking care of our employees and their families.
A fiery chemical explosion is now deadly. Good evening, I'm Dawn G.
And I'm Scott Reynolds. We have just learned the identity of the person killed. The Jefferson County coroner saying that 59-year-old Stephen Nichols was killed in the explosion this evening at the Carbide Industries plant in Rubbertown. Nichols and 3 others were taken to University Hospital following that explosion around 5:40 p.m. Wave 3 was first on the scene, and tonight we're bringing you live team coverage from the plant, where firefighters are still on the scene, at University Hospital, where 1 patient remains, and at MetroSafe Dispatch. We begin first with Wave 3's John Cresos. He is live at the scene on Bells Lane. John?
And Scott, good evening. Less than an hour ago, we got an update from fire officials. They tell us that fire is actually still burning right now. It's going on about 3 buildings back from where we are. Crews, though, have left the building because it's not stable enough to be around. Now they're just going to let it burn out. It is still a much calmer scene here than when we got here around 6 o'clock. You can see how it looked from high above in Air 3. There was a lot of smoke and an overwhelming smell. The deadly fire started after an explosion inside a furnace room. That explosion sparked a large grass fire. All the smoke and noise had neighbors very concerned about what was going on.
You heard a lot of boom and then a big old cloud of smoke in the air. So we was like, you know, what's going on? So we come out and we see the fire department and the police officer rushing to the back of the house. So we're like, okay. Then we come out. They was like, well, no, you can't come out right now. So they rushed us back in the house.
And we now know the chemical involved was calcium carbide, and those who live around here were never in danger. But how the whole thing was handled and some of the communication has some people a little concerned and looking for some answers tonight.
And I'm updating him on the real issues too, because we're never notified. I'm glad he's being updated. He looks healthy. He's got medical insurance. A lot of people in our neighborhood do not.
Rubbertown neighborhood activist Ebony Cochran didn't waste any time confronting Louisville Mayor Greg Fisher.
I will be the first one to vote you, to get everybody in here to vote you out.
She showed up on the scene outside the Carbide Industries plant after a fiery explosion. She and other neighbors are concerned they had no idea what was going on.
Why? I've talked to you several times about how do we notify the residents? I think one time...
We don't know what we have. The fire department's still inside. Okay.
Wave 3 got an alert from LMPD asking to tell residents to stay inside because of the potentially dangerous chemical. Spokesman Dwight Mitchell told me their officers were first on the scene and sent out the alert.
So that is always the first piece of advice that you'll give until you can find out the rest of the information. The rest of the information in this case is that there is no risk to the residents. So
that after it was determined by the health department that the chemical, calcium carbide, wasn't a risk to residents. Fire department officials say they knew that from the start and an alert should not have been issued.
No fire department or nobody from the incident command system called for that alert because, again, all that smoke was at the initial explosion was simply nothing more than coming from grass spot fires outside the area.
Well, again, that's why I came down here as well. I mean, we'll be getting all the information together tonight.
Plant General Manager John Gant says in the future, neighbors shouldn't be too scared about what comes from their plant.
So we don't store hazardous chemicals on site, so some of the neighbor concerns really don't apply to this particular incident, but I can understand their concern.
And back out here live now, I'm with the Assistant Chief of the Dreamland Fire Department with some new information as far as what's going on right now.
We've had the fires extended into a transformer on the 3rd floor. The transformer is containing some mineral oil. It is again, it's a non-PCB oil. The smoke won't cause any adverse health effects. We've still got Metro Health Department that's out evaluating, doing all the air monitoring in the area. Close and far proximity, just seeing what the smoke's doing, and we cannot go in and put the fire out because of the calcium carbide that's still in the building that we can't put water on. So right now we're still at a good distance back at the main part of the gate, and making sure that we're protecting any kind of exposures that may come in contact at a later time through the night.
Great, thanks so much for that update. And as far as the city's response to what happened with this explosion, Mayor Greg Fisher says he will be having a news conference tomorrow morning. By the way, all the roads around here are back open tonight, as are the plans for their overnight shift. Reporting live tonight, John Cresos, Wave 3 News.
All right, John, thank you. And that is not the first mineral oil fire that they have had. And Wave 3 continues learning more about the people that were injured in that explosion.
Including now one fatality. For that side of the story, we turn to Wave 3's David Williams. He's still live at University Hospital, where he's been for hours. David?
Scott and Dawn, that person, 59-year-old Stephen Nichols of Charlestown, Indiana, is dead. Authorities telling us he died from his injuries from today's explosion. We're also told one person is in serious condition here at University Hospital, and 2 people were released from the hospital today. Tonight, a family is grieving, while another family is hoping for the best. The sound of ambulances pierced the air Monday evening as several people were rushed to University Hospital, all injured during an explosion that rocked the Carbide Industries plant in Rubbertown.
Yeah, on the most serious case, we had some severe burns. That was on the most severe side, and we also have some injuries that weren't quite so severe.
At least 2 people were burned. Authorities are now saying 1 person died from their injuries.
My indication is that they were all at least close to where this incident happened. From my understanding is they'd also be workers of this plant, but that is not confirmed at this point.
As emergency crews raced to care for the injured, several people went through the decontamination process at the hospital because of possible chemical involvement at the explosion site.
They brought the patients in, they worked to clean those patients as best they can, take off the clothing that could be contaminated, and then take them in to the emergency department. The challenge with a decontamination situation is dealing with both the medical injuries as well as whatever chemical may or may not be on this particular patient coming in, because you don't want to contaminate the rest of the emergency department.
Now the names of the other people brought here to University Hospital have not yet been released. We will have any updates for you this morning on Wave 3 Sunrise and, of course, wave3.com. Reporting live at University Hospital, David Williams, Wave 3 News.
All right, David, thank you. And again, we certainly send our prayers up here. And after the explosion, there was a lot of chaos inside the plant, but it was outside where one Rubbertown resident was able to watch it all unfold right before his eyes and his camera lens.
And tonight we're sharing those photos with you. Wave 3's Katie Bauer live at MetroSafe with more on this part of the story. Katie?
Yeah, Scott, here at MetroSafe, dispatchers were busy directing police, fire, and EMS at the scene, but it was outside the plant where neighbors watched and heard the whole thing happen. For Leslie Pennington, it was a beautiful night to be outside and try out his new electronic.
I was testing my camera, and I seen the explosion, and I just started taking pictures.
Pennington says he was about a tenth of a mile away from Carbide Industries chemical plant, but says he still felt the shock.
It was scary, and I was basically trying to warn the neighbors to get in the house, all at the same time the explosion was going on.
All while capturing the moment. This picture shows just how close it was to his neighbor's house. A huge dark cloud of smoke filled the air.
It smelled like a Roman candle, like the after effects of a Roman candle, but it was much more magnified.
He says about 15 minutes after the explosion, he heard a warning siren.
It was real faint. It was really, really faint.
Even hours later, he was still feeling the effects from being near the plant.
I still taste sulfur in my mouth, and I have like a headache even right now.
Unexpected images captured in a moment few in this neighborhood will ever forget. And for a closer look at Pennington's photos, we will post those to wave3.com. Reporting live tonight, Katie Bauer, Wave 3 News.
All right, we appreciate him sharing those pictures with us, and you can post your pictures from the explosion and aftermath on the Wave 3 Facebook page and tell us what you think about the response. We will continue working overnight to get you the latest information and to bring you the update tomorrow on Wave 3 Sunrise.
Well, and tonight we talked with a former environmental safety and health manager from Carbide Industries about possible danger to the nearby neighborhood. He likened the plant's operations to a steel plant more than a chemical plant because calcium carbide is made from a molten material.
Any fire that occurs from carbide coming into contact with water is not likely going to have a great deal of toxins in it that's going to cause a widespread concern, beyond those who are immediately in the area fighting the fire.
Now, Crompton says calcium carbide can even be picked up without harming you and that it won't burn unless contacted by water.
Now, we dug in our Wave 3 archives and found there is a history of hazmat situations at Carbide Industries. Back in August of 2006, fire crews responded to a hydrochloric acid leak. About 500 pounds of the acid was released as a vapor cloud, and a level 2 hazmat emergency was declared. Then in June of 2009, a level 1 hazmat situation was declared after an oil tank caught on fire. The chemical inside turned out not to be a danger, and no one was evacuated.
Still to come here on Wave 3 News at 11. More jobs coming to Kentuckiana. We'll tell you who's hiring and when.
And in weather, another very warm day on tap for us for our Tuesday. It looks like we're back into the 80s after a very mild night tonight. We've been keeping an eye on the weather situation throughout the evening. We'll share all the details with you in our forecast coming up.
Car insurance for families with a house full of drivers can get pretty pricey. Wave 3 News is working for you, showing you how some new technology can help save some cash. You keep an eye on your kids' driving habits. That's tomorrow, 6:15 on Sunrise.
Testimony is now underway in the trial of a former Army sergeant accused of killing his estranged wife and her former mother-in-law back in September of 2007. Taking the stand in Brent Burke's fourth trial for the murders of Tracy Burke and Karen Comer in her Rineyville home were Tracy's two sons. Jurors heard the oldest boy's desperate call to 911. He waited hours before calling because he said he was afraid Brent Burke was still out there. The youngest child told the jury he saw his mother get shot.
Do you remember seeing your dad, Brent Burke, there? What is your answer to that today? Yes. And on that day, what did you say? I don't know. You, according to the record, you said, I don't know whether you saw him there or not. Was that a true answer there? Protection.
The defense used its cross-examination to point out inconsistencies with the boys' past and current testimonies. The prosecution will call more witnesses Wednesday.
Tonight, a family friend tells Wave 3 News what she says led up to the shooting death of a Louisville man. Metro Police say 26-year-old Ty Pham was killed Sunday morning. He was found on East Tenney Avenue near South First Street. His friend says the shooting may have stemmed from a fight earlier that night at 4th Street Live. If you have any information, call the anonymous tip line at 574-LMPD. Jeffersonville police have arrested a man for a weekend murder. Police say 35-year-old Bradley Shackelford admitted to shooting 45-year-old Mark Marine Saturday at the Las Casitas apartment complex. Officers say Shackelford told investigators that he shot in self-defense during a fight. Police say they believe it is drug-related.
We have new information tonight in the case against a man accused in a road rage shooting in Okolona. A grand jury today indicting 49-year-old Gerald Bryant on attempted murder, assault, and 2 counts of wanton endangerment. Police say Bryant shot at another driver that he says cut him off. That was March 12th at Fern Valley Road and Old Shepherdsville Road. That driver was released from the hospital this weekend and will go to rehab after being shot in the chest.
Several families are homeless tonight after a fire ripped through Hillview apartment complex this morning. It was a story we brought you as breaking news at noon. And just before 10:30, firefighters from Zone 10 in Okolona got the call that the blaze had engulfed several of the rooms. But there were already 2 heroes at work. Rick Emberton had to find a way to save his stepdaughter, Melissa, who has ALS and was on a ventilator, unable to move herself.
Trying to get everything connected up where I could get her in her chair and get her out, and then 2 boys from over here come by and helped me get her in the chair, and we got her out, and then it was gone, 15 minutes.
And it didn't take long for news to get to Melissa's daughter, Emily.
I started to cry at school because I was worried about my family.
Well, Emily was glad to know that everyone was fine, including her dog, Nico. Those families who lost their homes have been placed in local hotels courtesy of the Red Cross.
A Jeffersonville company is expanding and it'll bring in 75 new jobs by 2014. Key Electronics makes industrial controls and instruments. It will invest more than $2 million at its facility on Centennial Boulevard in Jeffersonville, and those jobs should start by spring. JCPS wants your input on its superintendent search. The search firm heading up the effort will hold 3 days of meetings next week. Public hearings will be Monday at the Gaines Academy on Preston Highway and also Tuesday the 29th at the Van Hoos Education Center, both nights 7 o'clock. If you can't go, you can fill out a survey. We put a link to it right there on wave3.com.
The Fun for the Arts CEO is retiring. The board of directors says Alan Cowan will retire effective April 30th. Earlier this month, the board sanctioned Cowan for a voicemail he left regarding the Louisville Visual Art Association director saying that he should be fired.
Working for you, this is your Wave 3 weather forecast from Chief Meteorologist Kevin Harnett.
Well, did you have a chance to see the sunset tonight? If not, I want to show it to you thanks to Ken Alderson. A beautiful sunset around the area with the clouds in place and the sun setting. Isn't that nice? Ken, by the way, is with the Louisville Astronomical Society, and a beautiful picture there. Appreciate you sending that in, Ken. A nice shot there. Listen, outside tonight, not only do we have a few clouds around, but yes, the tree pollen is back. The trees are in bloom, and the pollen consequently for the tree side is on the high side. We're looking at the mold count low, and the grass and weed pollen at least is absent for now. Hey, we hit a high of 82 today. Wow, we should be warmer than that during the day tomorrow. It was the warmest day so far this year and our first 80-degree day of the year. Outside now in Louisville, we've got a few clouds here or there. The temperature is still very mild. It's 70 degrees outside, winds out of the west-southwest. It has been throughout the day. Rather gusty this afternoon, as high as 20 to 25 miles per hour. Now it's down to 5, and you'll see that dew point there at 53 degrees. Notice what's happening around the region with the winds. You can see those winds 5 miles an hour here, 9 up to Bloomington. All in all, coming out of the south, keeping us mild tonight. Will keep us very mild throughout the day tomorrow. Temperature in Louisville among the warmest around. It's 70 degrees here. Let me show you what's going on around the region. First of all, you'll notice the cloudy skies, but breaking up to our south, portions of Grayson County seeing a clear sky. And as we zoom out on the radar and satellite view, you can see not a whole lot of activity around as far as rain goes. You have to push away into northern Illinois. Back up into the north country, they're going to see quite a snowmaker move in. That will take place during the day tomorrow on into Wednesday. Consequently, a number of winter storm warnings. Blizzard-like conditions not out of the question across the northern tier of states as we go through the middle part of the week ahead. Well, for us, overnight, we're just looking at a mainly cloudy sky. Any type of rain would hold off until very late tomorrow night, and that's going to be a fairly small chance. I think the better chance for showers and thunderstorms will come out ahead of this cold front that's marching our way, and that moves in by, say, midday or on into the afternoon hours on Wednesday. So 2 rain chances, one late Tuesday night into early Wednesday, and then another one, and the better chance would occur Wednesday afternoon. Severe weather chances out to our west tomorrow, but during the day Wednesday, we'll have our risk of severe weather in the form of some gusty winds and the possibility of some hail around the area. Keep you updated on that. Well, partly cloudy skies overnight, a very warm night. Temperature very mild, down to 65. Throughout the day Tuesday, partly sunny, near record warmth, a high of 85. I don't think we'll break the record. It's to the upper 80s. We'll be in the mid 80s though. And as we go through time, we'll cool it down about 10 degrees on Wednesday. Good chance for storms then. A 50-degree temperature for Thursday, and we hold in the 50s on through the weekend into early next week with another rain chance by the weekend.
Yeah.
Getting chilly, though.
Could be a smoker tomorrow.
Yeah, 85. That's summer-like.
Woohoo! Thank you, Kevin. Well, coming up, another coaching opening in the SEC, and we're going to hear from the Cats on their matchup with #1 Ohio State.
Wow, they are big and strong. Kent Taylor checks in on the Bellarmine Knights as well. They're getting ready for the Elite Eight. It's all next.
The U of L women are back in action in the NCAA tourney tomorrow night at Xavier. The Cats back in the pit tonight. Victoria Dunlap looking for a second straight trip to the Sweet 16. To get there, they'd have to beat North Carolina. Iroquois grad Adia Mathis scores inside. Game tied at 12, but the Tar Heels closed the half on a 14-5 run. They led it 40-30 at the break. To the moment, Cats within 6 with about 8 minutes left in the second half, so they are coming back. In 2009, U of L was the top seed in the men's tournament. The Cards fell in the Elite Eight. In 2010, Kansas was the #1 overall seed in the tournament. The Jayhawks lost in the second round. This year, Ohio State's the top dog. Can the Cats send them home? The Buckeyes are 3rd in the nation, actually 2nd in the nation now after their performance yesterday, hitting over 49% of their shots. Led by Jared Sullinger, the freshman averages 17 points and 10 boards a game.
Sullinger, he's a great big man, one of the best big men in the country, and it's going to be a tough matchup. Hopefully we can, double team him, whatever we have to do to contain him.
Kendrick Haskins is headed to Newark to cover the Cats. He's not covering Bellarmine. He is covering the Cats, and if you're going, the important times, here they are right here. UK's open practice at the Prudential Center from 1 to 1:50 on Thursday. Ohio State shoot-around from 3:10 to 4. These are free, open to the public. Tip time once again around 9:45 for UK and Ohio State. That's on Friday night. That's 30 minutes after the Marquette, North Carolina game. Bruce Pearl is out at Tennessee. The Vols fired their coach today. They lost by 30 to Michigan in their NCAA opener Friday. Pearl was suspended for 8 games this season for lying to NCAA investigators. A statement tonight from AD Mike Hamilton indicated that there were more violations this month. Goodness gracious, Bruce Pearl. The Bellarmine Knights arrived in Springfield, Massachusetts this afternoon. We caught up with them before they left. This bus trip was just to the airport for a charter flight to the Elite Eight.
Came down and got back to work. We don't want to come down. We want to continue the ride. It's tremendously humbling, but at the same time, it's a thrill of a lifetime.
We're definitely not satisfied yet. We want to make sure we at least win one game coming up here. So our goal is to win a national championship. So we're not going to be satisfied until that goal is accomplished.
Here are the details. The Knights play Midwestern State from Wichita Falls, Texas at noon on Wednesday. If they win that, the semifinals are Thursday at 6 and 8:30, televised nationally by CBS College Sports. The title game is Saturday at 1 on CBS. A quick U of L note, Preston Knowles will have surgery on his injured foot. It'll be on Friday. And here is a look inside the Cards locker room after last Thursday's loss to Morehead State in the NCAA tournament. All in all, though, that 25-10 season has to be considered a success.
We had a great season. I wouldn't change it for the world, but, just key things, little things that kept us from winning.
Yeah, it was a pretty good season for what we call a bridge year or whatever, but everybody just has to get ready for what's next in their lives and prepare for the next season here, and that's pretty much what it is. We got to, everybody stick together and who's coming back and who's not.
Now, for Cats highlight tonight, the play of the weekend, there were a lot of big shots, but this was the biggest in the Bluegrass State. Deontay Lewis of Christian County with the buzzer beater in double overtime to give Christian County its first Sweet 16 title. And you think Mr. Lewis is going to be a big shot in Christian County, I don't know, for the rest of his life?
Yep.
How about that?
They'll be honoring him forever.
In double overtime. And you can see it, our website. If you didn't see that game, it's on wave3.com on the sports page. You can watch the whole thing.
And what a great state tournament. Eastern loses close, Bullitt East loses close games, and that one was close. Yeah.
And again, his mama has no voice. Lost it. We'll be right back.
Cats down 2 to North Carolina, so getting back in it.
All right.
Go Cats.
Thanks
we'll
for
see
watching.
You tomorrow.